Hey guys, and welcome back to my channel where I present you budget decks that they're trying to not cost as much as other certain decks. This deck will probably be between like 40 and 80 bucks depending on what choices you go for. If you're ignoring the impermanence in here, if you have it, definitely run it. If you don't have it, then swap this out with some other kind of side deck card. I'm pretty sure there's good enough ones to replace this with. I mean, impermanence is pretty strong, but also you don't have to run Gamma Seal. But since this is a rank 4 Constellar or OTK deck, you want to basically give your opponent monsters to have as less attack as possible. Mainly, this is not enough to OTK as well. They were quite smart with Konami. They didn't have a kaiju that would fall to Utopia double, so you can't do just that and actually OTK because that will only result in 7,800 damage with the lowest attack point kaiju. So you have to come up with 200 other points of damage to do so, but we'll see, right? This is just to break your board. Next up is Photon Thresher. This is to go into more rank 4s. It's a level 4 light monster, so that's pretty neat. But let's get to the core of the deck, the Constellar engine in here. 1 Chaos, because technically you could run Pleiades in the deck if you really wanted to. I decided it doesn't come up too much, but there's certain cards I'll talk about later that you can cut for it. And then you can actually put Pleiades in, play it maybe. You could run the Constellar monster that attack boosts your Constellars. I didn't feel like it was too necessary, but I like Chaos, so I decided to run him. Constellar Pollux, one of the game makers, because you can normal summon one Constellar monster in addition to your normal summon. The effect doesn't activate, so your opponent can't really negate that. Kind of want to be able to get rid of all the negates beforehand anyways, because, well, otherwise rank 4 will not be doing all that much. Constellar Algd, I don't know what that name is for, or how is it pronounced. I think it's Constellar Science, but I have no idea how to pronounce this. But this card is basically a Goblinberg for Constellars, so you do this. Obviously, you don't want this card to be negated. Well, if it does, then you're kind of screwed. Sombre is basically it's kind of your second playmaker. If your turn 1 didn't really work out, but you still got 2 Constellars out, maybe you made a rank 4, maybe got disrupted in this kind of thing, and they're both in the graveyard, then next turn you still have a setup with this card, so that's why I chose to run it over other level 4 Constellars. If it comes up, it doesn't come up too much, but it at least has a chance to come up and do something, whether the rest of the Constellars don't really have that. Plus, you still want to use like a certain count of Constellar monsters, so LGD and Pollux don't have a problem. The good thing about them is they can summon themselves. They don't have the restriction that they can't summon themselves, so that still counts for it. Otherwise, this deck would have way more problems. 1 Goblinberg, because you're trying to spam rank 4s, and this is your way of, well, spamming them, but getting 1 out per turn. Remember back in the days when it was like 4 or 5 for certain decks, but that's a dream nowadays with link summoning and all this kind of shenanigans. And triple Ash Blossom, because you want to disrupt your opponent as good as possible. You want to make sure he still has a monster on board, preferably a weak one, so Utopia double and double or nothing come in clutch. Ghost Ogre is basically, it is just the card that you run if you can't afford impermanence in this kind of sense, or if you don't have any other side deck card that fits at the moment. And I think it can decimate your opponent's board to the point where you might be able to OTK. It's helpful against decks with field spells, possibly like True Draco. This can come in clutch sometimes. Trickstar possibly can. So there's certain things where this card is helpful. So I wouldn't deny its purpose completely, Triple Effect Veiler, well, it's as close to impermanence as you can get, so you want to run that at 3. Instant Fusion, definitely don't have to say much to that. It's an easy rank 4. Can still say you can bait negations with Thousand Eyes Restrict. Maybe put a Link Kuriboh in the deck to get rid of Thousand Eyes Restrict, because if the opponent doesn't negate it and lets it go through, then you don't have an extra monster zone anymore because you can't link it away. So you might want to run a Link Kuriboh. Just saying, it doesn't come up too much, because either if your opponent doesn't have a negation anymore, you don't go into it, or if your opponent still has one, then they'll probably negate it because they don't want to lose it to that, or give you more resources. So technically they should be negating that one. Reinforcement of the army, pretty good cards. So it's like multiple cards: Photon Thresher, Pollux, Goblinberg. So you have all of those kind of options with it. Monster Reborn is just a play extender. If your card gets negated, sent to the graveyard, and you still have an instant fusion, then you can still go into rank 4. You don't have to run it. It comes in clutch a lot of the time, but not all the time. So not quite sure if I want to or not want to run this card. Super Poly breaks boards, helps you setting up OTKs. All in all, pretty good card. Only problem, you can't get rid of the extra monster zone. You could run like Landfill Linkers to like do this, but you would have to get like 3 level 4 monsters on board then, which is quite the task. You can do it, it's not impossible with instant fusion being a thing, Goblin Burg and so on. You can actually get 3 Constellars on board as well, but it's not happening too much. So I would say yeah, running a Link monster still isn't justified in this deck, but you could, if you want to, you can run Link 2 or Link 3 in this deck, if not Link Kuriboh. Double or nothing, you need this card. I happen to draw in it way more than I draw into other good cards, but, well, it's a Garnet, I guess. Like, you can still get 5,000 points, and even if you can't search with Utopia double, that's fine. You could bump it up to 2 because it's quite important, but you don't really want to do that because the deck kind of needs its disruption potential. And a little tech card in here where I've not quite decided how spicy it is. I like it because it lets you do a lot, especially in this deck. Plus it's a Constellar card, so nobody can complain I'm not running Constellars in this deck. The activation of light monster effects cannot be negated, which is problematic because that works if your opponent has pure negates, like for example, like Salamander Roar cannot do anything against you. Who is a light monster as well? Utopia double, very good. Sadly, doesn't work against hand traps like Effect Veiler or the Ash Blossom, because it doesn't. I mean, Ash Blossom, I'm not sure, but like Effect Veiler just negates the monster's effect, doesn't negate the activation. Actually, if let's see, I think no, you just negate the effect. You don't. I don't know. You have to obviously rule that for yourself. But what it works for is, for example, Salmon Grade, Roar, and all those kind of cards. So that can come in handy. But if it just it negates the general effect and not the activation, then yeah, can be problematic. You can cut it. I actually liked it against a lot of decks. You can side it if you want to. I wouldn't really know what to put in. Maybe more rank 4 stuff. There's not much more board breaking things that you can actually run besides evenly matched, possibly. Or you kind of want your battle phase to be there. So it's all a little bit complicated with this deck. Salamander, Violet Chimera in the extra deck, obviously we all know what that's for. Same for Starving Venom and Mud Dragon. Mud Dragon you can actually get out with instant fusion, so there's that. If your opponent plays like a deck where it helps you with Super Poly, helps you get another level 4 on board, because Mud Dragon is level 4 coincidentally, so you can do this. Rare Fish is just my choice for the level 4 one for instant fusion, because I don't think there's a light one level 4 that you can actually summon. Not that it matters much, but I don't think there is one. I think the only one was that like Glow Moss fusion from Nyx. I don't know, but I'm not sure if you can't even do this with that. So there was that. So Rare Fish is my option. Thousand Eyes Restrict, already talked about this. You can force it in negates if need to. Black Rose Dragon, basically, since you have Photon Thrasher, since you have a lot of level 4 monsters, mainly Photon Thrasher though, because or Instant Fusion, then you can use Ghost Ogre or Ash Blossom to go into Black Rose Dragon. You could put in Moonlight Dragon, so it can't be negated with Constellar Belt. Have that going on for you, I guess. Satellite Constellar Diamond combos off with Deltros if you ever get him out. If you want to free up some extra space, cut those 2 cards because they rarely come up. Rarely your opponent lets you go into 3 level 4s, and rarely you want to do this because Deltros effect is good, but it's not that good in a sense where it's like, yeah. If it would be Trigger, I would be like, damn it, run it, but you can't go into Trigger because I think it needs Satellite monsters. Sadly, the missed opportunity to call them Constellar Knight, just saying, would have been a great synergy. The deck would have been pretty much stronger in my opinion, but what are you going to do? Utopia for the OTK. I decided to run Constellar Omega against decks like Sky Strikers, possibly. Can come in handy, but you don't have to run it. It was just me being like, oh, we have Constellars, maybe run this card. Tornado Dragon, neat card, is okay. Obviously removal. Baguska, you're with Abyss Dweller, you only turn 1 plays really. It's not a it's not a turn one deck. You'll have to use your side deck, you'll have to use your hand taps to kind of do stuff first turn and hope your opponent doesn't destroy and then go for the rank 4, I guess. Maybe. Against some decks, Baguska can be strong, but meta decks, mainly not, right? Mainly not. For the side deck, Lancia, good against Thunder Dragons, good against zombies, good against a lot of decks that try to banish. H&8, a little bit of a different card in here. Since it's a heavy OTK deck, you basically OTK Sky Strikers out of their life because they have no way to stop H&8. And if they don't have a hand trap of any kind, then they're kind of screwed because all their quick spells go back to their hand, which they can't activate, and then they're stuck with a weak Link Monster on the board, which you can run over with Utopia Double and just go for game. Twin Twister, I think it's pretty obvious what that's for. Mystic Mine, any kind of back row decks. And for Impermanence, if you want to run Evenly Match, if you want to run the Ghost Spell, if you want to run any other thing that helps you break in a board, that doesn't cost you normal summon. I'm just saying that here, don't go for Sphere mode because then you basically don't have place. Unless you draw Instant Fusion, Photon Thrasher, then you still have place. But even then, yeah, not that easy. I think even Lava Golem would be better because then you can still do 1000 burn damage if you're short on damage, in my opinion. And yeah, that Red Reboot can win you the game if your opponent plays weak monsters with a strong trap setup. OTKing through that then can happen quite easily if you get double out and your opponent doesn't have a strong monster on board but has a monster on board. He has to have at least a monster on board for that to work. But other than that, it's a strong card for an OTK deck, so why wouldn't you run that? If you enjoyed the video, give it a like, subscribe to my channel for more weird decks, budget decks. I might do somewhat similar to Satella Knights next. I'm still working on that one because Trevor can obviously come in quite clutch. And other than that, I hope you have a good day.